Books are always known as a friendly companion of humans, but do all books possess this characteristic? It should be noted that some books are mysterious, dangerous, strange, and even extraordinarily terrifying. Surely, reading these books will bring nothing but destruction and darkness to you. In this video, we intend to explore one of the strangest and most dangerous books in the history of the world and introduce you to the book of the Necronomicon. So, stay with us to take a look at this book and provide you with some explanations about it. The Book of the Resurrection of the Dead, or the Necronomicon, was written by Abdul Hazret and is also known as the most mysterious and dangerous book in the world. It is a magical and terrifying work whose secrets are still unsolved to this day. If we want to provide you with some explanations about this book, we must say that this book is known as the most dangerous written text in the world. Many people believe that by reading this book, you can not only learn the secrets of the creation of the world but also perform strange activities such as summoning spirits and communicating with supernatural and terrifying creatures. This issue has made this book have a special place among people interested in the field of occult sciences. According to the investigations, a person named Abdul Hazret, who was a Bedouin from the Sham region, wrote this book in 699, and after completing it, his body was found in pieces, and no one could figure out the reason and the way he was murdered. The various topics and strange history of this book have made the Book of the Resurrection of the Dead popular, and we will provide you with detailed explanations in this regard in the following sections. As we mentioned earlier, the writing of the Book of the Resurrection of the Dead has been attributed to Abdul Hazret. He had a keen interest in various areas and learning strange things. He was famous for his madness because he used an unusual method to see the future and make predictions. In fact, he used drugs and narcotics to communicate with supernatural beings and obtain various information in this area. One important point to note is that based on the personality criteria currently addressed in psychology, Abdul Hazret is by no means a normal person. However, it should not be forgotten that there is no evidence that can confirm his insanity. Currently, it can be concluded that most of his abilities were due to his ability to communicate with jinn, and this was the reason why he had fundamental differences with other people of his time. According to historical evidence, Abdul Hazret spent his days in the ruins of the cities of Babylon, Memphis, and the empty quarter of Arabia. He migrated to Damascus and Sham in his later years and wrote the Book of the Resurrection of the Dead in this city. In 950, the Book of the Resurrection of the Dead was translated into Greek by Theodoros Philadas, and its name was changed to Necronomicon. After many years of writing the Book of the Resurrection of the Dead, Necronomicon, and translating it into Greek, we witnessed various events in Europe, and many people tried to get their hands on this book. Throughout these years, the book remained untouched, and many people tried to translate it into their own languages. One of these people was Dr. John Dee, an advisor to Queen Elizabeth. Dr. John Dee was able to master the content of this book to such an extent that in 1587, he spoke to and communicated with supernatural beings, and this caused people in society to have a very bad view of him. After many years, Aleister Crowley, as an artist, poet, and researcher, studied the Book of the Resurrection of the Dead, which was in the Baldwin Library, and eventually completed it. After reading this book, he created the religion of Thelema, and after that, many activities were carried out by Aleister Crowley in the field of magic. Many people have attributed modern Satanism to Aleister Crowley. Interestingly, in 1918, Aleister Crowley met a person named Sonia Green at a literary conference in New York and talked to her about modern literature and poetry. After this conversation and acquaintance, Aleister Crowley and Sonia Green had irregular meetings with each other and talked about various topics until, after 2 years of these events, Sonia Green met H.P. Lovecraft, an American horror genre writer, and they got married. After this marriage, H.P. Lovecraft mentioned Abdul Hazret's book of the Resurrection of the Dead, Necronomicon, and other books in his own books many times. Apparently, during the same time that Sonia Green was friends with Aleister Crowley and had a relationship with him, she was able to obtain various information about this book, and after marrying Lovecraft, she gave him this information. Finally, with a relatively good understanding of the information contained in the Book of the Resurrection of the Dead, H.P. Lovecraft proceeded to write his own book. One of the most important questions that is asked is what the main content of the Book of the Resurrection of the Dead is. In response to this question, it should be said that currently no one knows exactly what Abdul Hazret wrote in his book and what he referred to. However, the important point is that this book has caused the collapse of all beliefs and mindsets about life, and this causes those who read the Book of the Resurrection of the Dead to experience darkness and great shock in their lives. Certainly, if someone reads the entire Book of the Resurrection of the Dead, even if they don't reach the brink of madness, they are forced to live in complete darkness and aimlessness, because the content of this book is so dark, strange, and terrifying that it can drive anyone to madness and insanity. Regarding the main content of this book, it should be noted that Rab Wormsis, one of the people who managed to obtain this book, said that after obtaining the translation of this book, he began to read it, but after reading a little of it, he burned the book because it reveals truths that no one is prepared for and it takes a lot of time to understand. Of course, it's important to note that Rab Wormsis lied about burning the Book of the Resurrection of the Dead, as many people have attributed a version of the translated book, which was discovered years later in Prague, to him and claimed that he lied about burning it and that he never did. The book was later found in the hands of someone who was called a wizard in Prague. In this video, we took a look at the Book of the Resurrection of the Dead and provided you with some explanations about the book and its history. Surely, after years and years, this book is still considered one of the most important and strangest secrets in the literary world, and many efforts have been made to solve this mystery. The important thing to note is that despite the years that have passed since the writing of this book, humans are still not ready to understand the truths contained within it, and reading it has driven many people insane. No one has been able to decrypt the entire book, but there are a few pages translated into English that I cannot publish due to laws. In the end, I suggest that you never get involved in spells and magic because first and foremost, it destroys your own life and family. What is your opinion? Share your thoughts with others, subscribe to our channel, turn on notifications, and don't miss out on other interesting videos that are being prepared.